Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. TYLA has recently been in the news. We do have a birth chart available to analyze TYLA. Now, in your chart, how you make your mark is something that you can utilize, you can manifest with Saturn and 10th house energy. Saturn is about development, and it shows you the industry that you will need in order to help bring you out into the world. It's how you achieve things, okay? For example, Beyonce is a really good reference. I use her a lot in comparison to the younger crowd because she's so accomplished now, right? So Beyonce has Saturn in Libra. This means that she needed to develop her fashion sense, her diplomacy, her political power and positioning in order to advance. Beyonce needed to develop this Saturn energy to help her advance. Also, her Saturn being in Libra, having the right partnership, etc., etc. Now, Saturn's energy is not easy. It requires discipline, consistency, but if you chip at this little by little, then you're going to find yourself advancing, right? So sometimes artists will demonstrate to you their Saturnian energy because Saturn isn't easy, even though it's how they make their mark. Right? Even though it's how they make their mark, sometimes you will see them have flubs. For example, Beyonce talks about how people would talk about her fashion and talk about like her choice in fashion early in her career. They used to make fun of her like doily skirts, and she even has a lyric in Renaissance where she says that cheap spandex, it looks a mess. That's her Saturn in Libra, which had experienced criticism, judgment, right, in its earliest days of fashion. Saturn, heavy pressure, but advancement in Libra, fashion, okay? So now that I've set that up for you, when we go to TYLA's chart, she has Saturn in what? Gemini, the zodiac sign of communications. Gemini is connected to podcasting. It's connected to anything where you have to deliver a message, interviews, announcements, things like that. So TYLA is merely showing her Saturn energy right now in her need to develop this media marketing interviewee personality that she is not doing well on. This is why in comparing artists, it's best to look at their charts, because if you just look at it at surface level, you don't really understand what the individual soul path is, right? And especially if you try to compare everyone to Beyonce, but not everyone has Beyonce's chart. So to really like be your own Beyonce version of your Beyonce, right? You need to utilize your own chart. So one of the things that TYLA would need to do moving forward is to work on her interview skills, Saturn and Gemini. And she also has the North Node in Gemini, and Jupiter is going through Gemini right now, which is why it's I'm seeing that the transit of Jupiter is highlighting TYLA. It's highlighting TYLA because Jupiter expands, and Jupiter going over her Saturn, which is going to showcase, right? Jupiter expansion, showcase where her weaknesses are, where her areas of development are needed. So in utilizing Saturn, TYLA would need to practice exactly what her marketing message is. So it's not just acing a interview and saying the right thing. See, what I think she has not prepared, right? Saturn is preparation. What she has not prepared is the ability for her to have a strong marketing position. That's also Gemini. Gemini is the packaging of the item, right? So Gemini is like when you go to the store and you want cereal, but there's 100 different cereals with different packaging to deliver the message of what type of cereal you want. Do you want a chocolatey cereal? Do you want frosted flakes? You want a fruity cereal, right? So Gemini shows you how to package yourself according to your brand, according to your product. So even though it seems like TYLA has a really strong marketing positioning and actually used her Saturn to get there, right? She still has a lot more development to go. And that's really all that we're seeing here, in my astrological opinion, is her needing to develop her interview skills even more so that she can be the dynamic mark on the world that she wants to be. So you are going to see Saturn play out in ways where, especially 20-year-olds, like where Saturn will show you what they have been working on, but it will also still expose where they still need development, right? And once you really work with your Saturn, no matter what age, over a consistent period of time, or you could do 7 cycles, like 7 days, 7 months, you know what I'm saying? If you do, or actually, some people say Saturn is 7, some people say Saturn is 8. So you could also do 8 days, 8 months, depending on what beliefs that you are. And you could also work with Saturn that way. So if you would like to know more about your Saturn, how you make a mark on the world, I have 2 worksheets that I would recommend. My Saturn worksheets, where I talk about make Saturn your bitch. And this goes into utilizing Mars as well as Saturn in your chart. But then I also have the 10th house of career, which is also how you make your mark. But within this worksheet, the 10th house, you're going to see, I can't see TYLA's 10th house, so I don't touch on that here. But the 10th house is your primary way to make your mark. And then within the 10th house worksheets, I talk about Saturn. And I talk about your industry and what you need to develop and improve on to really help make your mark. So these are the 2 things that, if you want to understand your birth chart, to look at. If you'd like a deeper reading, then you can email me below or click the link to my website below. I'll see you guys in the next video.